I love songs like that because they're always such a good example of, I guess you could say, like efficient songwriting.
Yeah.
Because like that was just a minute and a half, but it didn't feel like it got like cut off early or anything. It felt like it was the perfect length for that song,
Oh yeah, it felt like a full
which
song.
is so interesting because it's, so short.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how punk music is just still being made after the movement has just sort of, I don't want to say disappeared, but it's just, I don't know, it doesn't have, it's not at like the forefront like it used to be.
Well, I feel like it's one of those things like punk in like the traditional sense of like what that music was. It's weird because it sort of did the same thing that that the Simpsons had, which is that it was very anti-establishment and then became the establishment,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to be against what you are.
Right.
um and so I think that punk is living on in other ways, and there are people that are taking the sound and doing some new things and experimenting with it. But I think that like the traditional definition of punk might be something that's, I guess, a little bit dated. But yeah. But yeah, so this was the second single off of their self-titled debut full-length record, Teenage Halloween. And they're a band from New Jersey. And yeah, that album came out on September 18th of last year.
I kind of liked how it had like these sort of elements of like early 2000s emo music in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I really like is that even with this very efficient songwriting, with the really short songs, there is a lot that you can sort of sink your teeth into on subsequent listens because it is a very in-depth arrangement. Like this is a 6-person band, so there's a lot
Really?
going on to digest in, a minute and a half.
Yeah, definitely. Have you ever heard of a band called Leathermouth?
I don't think I have.
So it was a side project that the bassist of My Chemical Romance started after like they finished touring for the Black Parade because
Okay.
he had built up this sort of pent up like rage for quite a while and he tried to like put it into Leathermouth. And they released only one album, but that album is absolutely sublime. It is so filthy and so angry and so explosively volatile that it's just so compelling to listen to.
Hmm. I'm seeing it here. That's something that I'm gonna have to check out.
Yeah, I listen to Body Snatchers Forever like a couple times a year at least. It's just a great solid album. Also very sort of efficient songwriting.
Yeah. Another great example, if we're gonna talk about like efficient songwriting at that people should listen to if they're looking for excellent examples of that, is the White Stripes. I think the song's called "I Fell in Love with a Girl," because that song that was actually what introduced me, like a post talking about that song online was what introduced me to the term of efficient songwriting in the way that I'm using it in this context. And I think that it's really interesting to look into that type of stuff if you're really into, that type of songwriting. All right, so what do we have up next?
All right. So I don't know, maybe this one will surprise you coming from me, but I have another thing that's a little
Okay.
different.